Because I mean, yeah, like I honestly haven't been involved in like any of this process so far. So, yeah, the association, has had meetings and they'll update us on whatever. But even though it does affect us, it's still kind of like ho hum. So certainly, I don't think you see a lot of officers there when these meetings go down. At least not at this point where they're talking about the periods and the dotted I's and the crossed T's and all that stuff. So I think a lot of us just kind of tend to pay attention once you get to the nitty gritty of like the incentives and the benefits and the compensation and the actual stuff that affects officers. But I think these preliminary talks are just like pretty light. Are you posting them? I haven't seen anything from your channel.
Yeah, I haven't created a video in quite a minute, and I plan on posting something soon. So I'm glad I actually got on the phone with you just now, and you're bringing up some ideas for me. Yeah.
Give it some commentary, make it exciting. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, definitely. I appreciate the input, and I'll see what I could do. I can't make any promises, but as I'm creating a video, if something comes up and I think of something I want to say or something I want to throw in there for people to think about, I'll definitely do that.
All right, then. Well, Andre, it was all nice talking to you like always. Did you have anything else that I can help you with?
Yes, in regards to the video that I'm actually creating, since you did bring it up, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Have you, or maybe this is too personal, or I don't know, something you're not comfortable talking about? If so, just let me know, and we don't have to get into it. But I'm going to ask the question. You can answer it if you'd like. Have you ever, during your career, taken a hardship transfer?
What's the hardship transfer?
I'm actually learning myself. Apparently, well, first things first, Elvia Shula, the city clerk, said that the Horizon City, Texas Police Department has only recently created a law enforcement union as of 2017. So only within the past few years has a union ever even existed with your police department. But now that you guys do have one, one of the topics that was being discussed and deliberated on March 18th, this Monday, just a few days ago, was the topic of hardship transfer. So from what
it was something that I never even thought of, because it was just a small amount of money that was taken out of my paycheck every paycheck. Didn't even think about it. But I'm glad that I did it.
Detective Charles Kleinert shot Jackson after he tried to open the door of a bank that had just been robbed and then fled on foot when Detective Kleinert questioned him.
So never thought that this would happen. But you never know.
And so in this case, we made up our mind was that we push on and see it all the way through, that there was something greater at stake than just the case.
Once it got into the court system and the judges reviewed it, their opinions were that I did nothing wrong.
It was a culmination of CLEAT, of what it believes, what it stands for, to run and hide or to stand beside the officer and go all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and that's what we did.
If he'd have had to fund that whole fight all the way to the Supreme Court just on his own, it would have financially ruined his family.
I never believed that CLEAT would just drop me because they decided that they didn't want to cover my costs anymore. I always believed that they were going to be there.
From the time they take their hand and swear the oath to protect the Constitution and the citizens of their community, you can trust CLEAT, you can trust us to make good decisions for you, protect you and your family, no matter how tough it gets.
like on the, I mean, I think I know, but just kind of, so when we look at this hardship transfer issue, that we understand what your issue is. As Elvia said, we have ADA issues, we have all kinds of, medical leave, et cetera. What are you attempting to cover here that you feel like is missing from our already in place plans? Because this seems pretty soft. This is like somebody just saying, I've got a personal issue, I need to be removed from being out in the field. And then 3 people sit down and vote on it, and then they get a transfer. So now what is it that you all are attempting to deal with that is not already covered by law?
Well, I want to say as in like pregnancy or someone that got hurt during work, but they can still
injured at job is already covered by workers' compensation.
Right, but let's say he can still work. This person can still work.
But it would still be
not
covered
out in
under
the field.
workers' compensation, and so that's why we have light duty at different places where people go when they're on workers' comp. And pregnancy, I have to tell you that a lot of women would have a lot of heartache with you trying to move them just because they're pregnant.
But not all pregnancies are equal.
But if you still had a doctor's note or whatever, your high-risk pregnancy, it's taken care of.
Where this comes in some places is not so much being able to do the patrol officer's job. It's sometimes, such as a family life-changing divorce, where you had 2 parents raising a young child, where now suddenly you have a young female raising a baby by herself, and if she's on night shift, it's very difficult to find babysitters if you don't have family.
How is that legal to do that to the other officers?
En ese crimen de la semana, Crime Stoppers y la policía del Paso buscan identificar una pareja que forzó la entrada a un negocio de llantas en el lado oeste de la ciudad. El viernes 9 de febrero a las 5:47 a.m., una pareja salió de una camioneta tipo pickup y caminaron hacia C&M Tires en el 8900 Viscount. Estrellaron una ventana y entraron al negocio. Después de esculcar varios artículos, encontraron una cantidad chica de efectivo. Cada quien tomó 2 llantas Ironman Gen 3 y salieron de la tienda. El valor total de las llantas es de $560. Ambos sospechosos vestían con sudaderas con gorro y usaban guantes. Investigadores saben de que alguien conoce la entidad de estos ladrones. Cualquier persona con información sobre este robo debe de llamar a Crime Stoppers del Paso al 566-8477, 566-TIPS. In this Crime of the Week, Crime Stoppers in the El Paso Police Department are looking to identify a couple that broke into a tire business in East El Paso. On Friday, February 9th at 5:47 a.m., a couple exited a small pickup truck and they walked towards a C&M tire business at 8900 Viscount. They broke a window and forced their way inside of the business. After ransacking items inside, they located a small amount of cash. Each of them grabbed 2 Ironman Gen 3 tires and left the business. The total value of the tires was $560. Both suspects were wearing hooded sweatshirts and believed to be using gloves. Investigators know that someone has information on the identity of this burglarizing couple. Anyone with any information on this burglary should call Crime Stoppers of El Paso at 566-8477. That's 566-TIPS.
So when we look at this hardship transfer issue, that we understand what your issue is. As Elvia said, we have ADA issues, we have all kinds of medical leave, et cetera. What are you attempting to cover here that you feel like is missing from our already in place plans? Because this seems pretty soft. This is like somebody just saying, I've got a personal issue, I need to be removed from being out in the field. And then 3 people sit down and vote on it, and then they get a transfer. So, now what is it that you all are attempting to deal with that is not already covered by law?
Well, I want to say as in like pregnancy or someone that got hurt during work, you know, but they
But
can
why is
still,
that?
they
Like,
can still.
Injured at job is already covered by workers' compensation.
Right, but let's say he can still work, this person can still work.
But it would still be
not
covered
on
under
vehicle.
workers' compensation, and so that's why we have light duty at different places where people go when they're on workers' comp. And pregnancy, I have to tell you that a lot of women would have a lot of heartache with you trying to move them just because they're pregnant.
But not all pregnancies are equal.
But if you still had a doctor's note or whatever, your high-risk pregnancy, it's taken care of.
Where this comes in some places is not so much being able to do the patrol officer's job. It's sometimes such as a family life-changing divorce, where you had two parents raising a young child, where now suddenly you have a young female raising a baby by herself, and if she's on night shift, it's very difficult to find babysitters if you don't have family.
How is that legal to do that to the other officers? To say, okay, because this is a woman who has a baby at home, she doesn't have to work.
Same way we've had officers that have been moved from night shift to day shift because they got diagnosed with,
That's a medical condition. See, that's what I'm saying, things that are in the law, if we're talking about treating people, I think you're going and trying to take us into really dangerous waters and exposing us to liability for personal reasons somebody doesn't want to do their job. And I think that's where you're gonna get pushback from us, because we try to treat everybody equally. And, yes, we have to comply with all the laws with regard to ADA, and if they've got a medical diagnosis, all of that takes care of itself. So that's what we're saying, what doesn't take care of it. So just personal preference, which that's not gonna fly. And certainly then you'll have other officers who will say, wait a minute, why am I always on night shift? Just because XYZ doesn't want to, or says it's a hardship for them to show up at night?
we're gonna need to caucus on this one.
Yeah, that one is, I really think from our that's what I'm trying to think. The whole time I'm sitting here, I'm going, well, that would get taken care of by ADA. Well, that would get taken care of by the workers' comp. That gets taken care of, so it's like, how are we gonna define this personal hardship? And then it becomes very subjective, because you have three people that are gonna sit in a room and go, oh yeah, we feel sorry for this one, so we're gonna let them change their duty assignment or their schedule. And I think that's a problem for us as that administer that. And it may actually not be a problem, you know, if we found ways to deal with it in the past. You guys need to think on that one.
Yeah.
So what, do we want to separate and caucus on just some of the things now?
Well,
Because we haven't seen.
We haven't seen any of y'all's proposals.
Right, so, I can tell you, some of them are gonna be dependent, that's what I'm telling you, show us let's talk the money kind of thing. Cause the money's gonna drive a lot of other things that, it always does.
Yeah.
What we can and can't do and what, you know.
But if we could take a short caucus.
Yeah, and let's just, wanna do like, till 15 minutes right now or longer? Wanna do a longer caucus?
Let's go up to
30.
30.
After 30, let's do 30 minutes, take a break for about 30 minutes and then come back. We'll come back at 10:45.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we can decide what
Thank
we
you.
wanna do. Yeah, and then we can look at the things that you've sent us too. There's stuff, we're looking for the low-hanging fruit, things that we
I know.
can agree to,
And I think
we've done a lot.
picked a lot of low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's take a 30-minute break. We'll leave you in here for your privacy. And we'll find a place for us.
Sir, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, we're in recess right now.
We're in a caucus.
Thank you.